Here we are again. Nice to see everybody. At least the sun's out. It's a little cold today. This is, what is today's date? Today is Saturday, the 18th of April. Well, I thank you for joining with us. I was telling Kevin this morning we've gotten some mail from people in Florida. They've been watching this stuff. Some people from down the shore, they've been watching this stuff. Former St. Thomas parishioners, but still always at heart. And they heard that we were doing this, and they thought, boy, this is a nice idea. So I appreciate those that are following this along. Hopefully that some of these little things that I share with you maybe help us in these times of pandemic and being isolated. Soon let us constantly pray that the grace of God will allow this terrible crisis to be eradicated from our heart and life. And we get back to doing what we should be doing all the time, and that's being in church with everybody. But I do thank you for being with me today. I lived in the city probably 38, 40 years, and one of the things I always availed myself in the city was public transportation, SEPTA. And I have a card here, and this is gold, this card. This will get me on any bus, subway, or trolley, or the rail system that runs out of Philadelphia. It's a great thing to have. One of my great disappointments in being sent out here to the suburbs 9 years ago was being so far away from the buses and trolleys. I got to drive a mile and a half down to Grand Run Mall to find a bus to get back down into town. In the city, I could walk a block or two. I could be on a bus or a subway or a trolley car, whatever the case might be. On Girard Avenue, there's a trolley car. It's the number 15. And that's an interesting route. It's not running right now because the city took all the trolleys off about 2 months ago, and they're refurbishing them all. But the 15 trolley runs from Front and Westmoreland down through the casino. They put a loop down in there, and it goes all the way to 61st and Calla Hill, which is a pretty good ride. Every once in a while, I'd have need to get on that trolley car, either to go over to get the Broad Street subway or to maybe go to the zoo to visit the animals. And there's a lady on that trolley car that's interesting. I don't know what her name is, but she's an Afro-American lady. And like most African-Americans getting ready for work, she's all dressed up. She's got big earrings on, a lot of jewelry, big smile, designer glasses, all the other business. And she's the trolley car operator. What's unique and special about her is she knows everybody gets on a trolley car. It's her regular route every day. So people get on the trolley car. She always has a nice little greeting for them, hello, and everything else. If they stop the trolley car and there's people on the other side waiting to get the trolley car on the other side, she always gives them the doot, doot, doot on the trolley car horn and sticks her hand out the window and gives a wave to them. One day I went up to her. I was getting off the trolley car and I said, "You have a great personality, you know that?" She said, "It's just me. It's who I am." I said, "You're very, very good with people." She said, "I got a public job here." She said, "There's more to this than just driving a trolley car. It's being involved in people's lives. And people cross my life all day long in and off of this car." I complimented her for her goodness. If you read the scriptures today, it's a story about the many times that our Lord appeared risen from the dead, and nobody recognized him. Mary Magdalene thought he was a gardener. The disciples in the upper room thought they were seeing a ghost. Those poor two souls on the road to Emmaus, they didn't know what in God's name was before them. And many, many times there was something that just wasn't recognizable about the presence of God in the person of Jesus. Certainly there was something physically different about him, but something that they came to recognize. Now, what was that physical thing that was different? Well, he wasn't limited by space and time anymore. So Jesus would go through barred doors and locked windows and all the other business. Not even have to knock. He could just right through. Right in and right out. And not disturb anything. What's that all about? Well, we believe certainly that when Jesus rose from the dead, there was something physically about him that was different, and it was what was called the glorification. His life just manifested the presence of God, and he was no longer held back by anything that was human. There was no gravitational pull in his life, something to hold him back. And I make that analogy with the lady with the trolley car. She was that kind of a person. I never knew what her name was, but you recognize there was something really special about her by the way that she interacted in people's lives. And what was that? Well, for all of us, none of us can perhaps maybe reach that stage in our life that we are not limited by space and time. But people can recognize in our life the presence of our Lord if they see kindness in our life, genuine kindness. And even in the curse of this great epidemic, boy, you turn the news on, every day you hear stories of people's kindness to one another, whether it's dropping hoagies off at the hospital or pizzas or food, the food banks, all the other business. All these people have turned their factories around to make things like face masks and face garments for a protective garment for doctors and nurses and everything else. It's about the kindness. The presence of God will always be manifested in people's lives when kindness is demonstrated. And so my thought today is what I learned from this lady on the trolley car. Kindness, every moment, with every person, makes a difference in their life because they see that there's something different in yours. And that's the presence of the good and the risen Lord. May the grace of God help us as we reflect upon that today. Have a good day, folks. We'll catch you later.